What's up, guys? Welcome to Touchdown Talk, your podcast where everything and anything football goes. I'm your host, Jason. Welcome back to a week in review. This week is 5-1 to 5-6. We're going to be going through from Sunday all the way up till Friday night on what happened throughout the week, get you guys all caught up on all the news that happened during the entire week leading up to Saturday when this video will be uploaded. Now, going all the way back to last Sunday, Howie Roseman, the Eagles general manager, talked about and discussed the Jalen Reagor rumors after there were rumors coming out that Jalen Reagor might be traded, that he was on the block, and that the Eagles were shopping him. So, and I quote, "Jalen Reagor is a Philadelphia Eagle and he's going to be here. He's worked tremendously hard to get in shape and come into this offseason program. And now he has an opportunity. We don't anticipate anything changing." Now, this is per Zach Berman. Now, yes, Jalen Reagor hasn't played up to his potential whatsoever. He was picked at first round, one pick before Justin Jefferson. Now, you're going to look at this pick and say that the Eagles completely botched this pick like they've done in the past, where they passed up on guys like DK Metcalf prior drafts. So looking at this pick, one pick ahead of Justin Jefferson, who's Minnesota's number one wide receiver now, and seeing the 2 years that Justin Jefferson had, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, and he's only in his junior year now, his third year in the league. So Jalen Reagor probably won't be with the team after this season. The team traded for A.J. Brown, and now they have Devonte Smith, who they drafted in last year's draft, along with Quez Watkins. They signed Zach Pascal. They have Dallas Goedert at tight end. The team's getting young. They're getting star players. And Reagor just doesn't seem to be in the cards for Philly. I think looking at their depth chart, he's probably number 5 on the team right now at the wide receiver position after the acquisition of A.J. Brown. So now, yes, they could keep him on the team, but he's probably going to play a very minimal role. And even if he were to be traded, I don't know if there are going to be teams lining up to trade for him. He hasn't played very well, and teams aren't going to be calling the Eagles for Reagor. It's more of the Eagles calling other teams, seeing if other teams are willing to take on Reagor. I don't see many teams wanting Reagor. So I think after this year, they'll look at it again. But I don't see Reagor playing a huge part in the Eagles team going forward. Now on Monday, that's when we had a lot of news. First, we had the New Orleans Saints signing Tyrann Mathieu to a 3-year, $33 million deal. He's returning home. He played for LSU. Now he's going back home to play for the New Orleans Saints now. He was going to take a shorter deal and a less money contract with the Chiefs, but they moved on for him to replace him with Justin Reed. So now he goes back home to New Orleans. He went there for a visit. He had a Zoom with the Philadelphia Eagles, but in the end, he wanted to go back home, and that's where he went. Still a pretty short deal. I mean, 3 years, $33 million, not a lot of money for the talent that Mathieu brings, the leadership that he brings to a locker room. But the Saints did have Malcolm Jenkins retire, so he's going to really fill in that need that they need at that safety position, along with the leadership role on that defense. Now, Mathieu's going to bring a whole nother level to that defense, a whole nother play level to that team just in general. His presence on and off the field in New Orleans is going to be tremendous for the team, and a team that hasn't struggled in the past but is trying to get its feet back under them after losing Sean Payton, after losing Drew Brees. They're trying to get their feet up and going now. So bringing in a guy like Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger as they call him, as he's known as, I think it's really going to help the Saints on and off the field, both on the field with his play style and how he plays, along with his communication, his leadership on and off the field, both in the locker room and in the city. Now, we also had news with the Arizona Cardinals. I'm sure a lot of you heard this news if you keep up with the NFL, but Deandre Hopkins has been suspended for 6 games after violating the NFL's PED policy. Now, Adam Schefter reported this, and Hopkins will be back in Week 7. He actually tweeted out, "I'll see you guys Week 7. See you Week 7" was what he tweeted. So him tweeting out, "See you Week 7," he kind of owned up to it. He doesn't know how it happened. I think he said in his tweet, I'll put that up here so you guys could see it. But DeAndre Hopkins being suspended, it's really going to be a true test to what Kyler Murray can do on the field. I mean, we saw Kyler Murray struggle last year without DeAndre Hopkins when Hopkins wasn't on the field. And now he's really going to have to prove himself. Now, Kyler Murray, he wants a new deal. He thinks he's a franchise guy. But now it's his time to prove it. It's now or never for Kyler Murray. Because they got him Marquise Brown. They got him Hollywood Brown in a trade during draft night. They traded their first-round pick to get Hollywood Brown. So that way Kyler has a wide receiver. And now with the news about DeAndre Hopkins, Marquise Hollywood Brown is going to be the number one guy there. They brought back James Conner. They resurrected his career. So it's time to shine for Kyler Murray. If you're Kyler Murray, you got to be saying to yourself, you know what? I want my money. They don't want to pay me yet. This is my time to prove it. Now, he followed them and unfollowed them. It was a whole scenario where we even talked about maybe a Kyler Murray trade. I know I talked about that in my video when the news was coming out. I know I talked about it and what he could mean for a team. But losing DeAndre Hopkins, it's now Kyler Murray's chance to shine. If Kyler Murray can't step it up and lead that team on and off the field, he needs to be a true leader. And if he can't lead that team to a winning record when Hopkins comes back, I mean, let's think about this. He's out for 6 games. And if you're not 3-3, 4-2, 5-1, even 6-0, what does that really say about you? Now, granted, Hopkins is one of the best receivers in the NFL. But for Kyler to succeed, is he really going to need one of the best receivers in the NFL? I think that's not a good look for Kyler in any aspect of his game. I think that if you're going to rely on having a number one wide receiver, there aren't going to be a lot of teams calling for you. Now, yes, he's a talented player. I'll give him that. But there were questions about him being a leader. And if you can't lead, if you can't take control of your team, and if you need a number one wide receiver in order for your career to succeed, that's not how quarterbacks are going to succeed in the league. Not every team has a number one guy like DeAndre Hopkins, like Devonte Adams, like Cooper Kupp, Debo Samuel. The list goes on. But there aren't many guys at that caliber. There's only a few guys at that number one wide receiver level. Now, yes, every team has a number one wide receiver level, but when it comes to talent, there's only a certain amount of talent at each tier in the NFL. Now, later on in this offseason, I will be doing tier lists for each positions, so you guys can check that out. I will announce when I do that. But I do have DeAndre Hopkins up there in the NFL. I think he's still a top receiver. He was hurt last year, so that hurt his play. But Kyler Murray's really going to have to step up with DeAndre Hopkins suspended. Now, we also had some news reported by Michael Rothstein that the Atlanta Falcons released running back Michael Davis. Now, Mike Davis was the leading running back there until Cordell Patterson really outshined the entire team. Cordell Patterson came out of nowhere. He really wasn't known to be a number one running back, but he really proved it last year, being in that Debo Samuel type of role, I guess we can call it now, where he played running back and wide receiver for the team. I think that it was really good to have Cordell Patterson there. They brought Cordell Patterson back. So there's really not a chance for Mike Davis to really play. He would kind of be a backup. So Atlanta makes a smart move. They get rid of him. They don't want to drag his career along. They want to be respectful, give him a chance somewhere else. And they really weren't going to use him. So it's kind of a waste to have him there, not to play him. So now Mike Davis can have a chance with another team. I know he's got something there. He has some talent. But with the league getting younger, faster, and more agile, Mike Davis being one of those bigger guys, he's probably going to be signed to a team where he's probably just going to be a goal line back. So he's not going to be a running back that plays first, second, third down. He'll probably be more of a goal line type back. Maybe like a 4th and inches type running back where you want, a couple inches so you just throw in your big running back, just bulldoze through for a yard or so. So I think Mike Davis will probably be in that role on a new team, but I don't see him leading any team at the running back position. Now, staying with the Atlanta Falcons, they picked up guard Chris Lindstrom's 5th-year option. I think that was really good for them to get done. It was really good for them because he's a good player, so you really get to see what he's got, and I think you get a deal done with him. That way, you don't need to worry about it this year. You can see what he's got. If he's still talented and there's aren't guys in free agency, next year you can give him a big deal to keep him on the team. Now for the Texans, they are picking up offensive lineman Titus Howard's 5th-year option. So the same thing goes for them. They get another year out of him. And then they could decide whether they want to give him a bigger contract, keep him on the team long term. But these 5th-year options are actually really good to have for a team in someone's contract, because you get another chance at them, you get another year with them. That way you don't really need to pay them right away. You are able to keep them for another year. So in a sense, it's kind of like a franchise tag in a sense, but a franchise tag, it's more of a 1-year, ton of money deal, where in order these 5th-year options are 1 year, you're still on the same deal, but you have a chance to prove yourself even more to get that big contract in the next year. Now, for the Los Angeles Chargers, they declined defensive lineman Jerry Tillery's 5th-year option. I don't think they saw a lot out of him. And now bringing in Khalil Mack to go alongside Joey Bosa, there's not a really spot on the team for him. There isn't a chance for him to really play if you're having Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa on the field at all times. So I don't think that he's going to play a big part in the team, which is why they'll most likely get rid of him next season. So Jerry Tillery, not really a big part of the Chargers team looking forward, so that is why they're not going to pick up his 5th-year option. Now the Houston Texans signed defensive end Rasheem Green to a 1-year deal. He's kind of a bridge guy, put him in there at defensive end, so that's good for them. They're getting a defensive player. Now we have breaking news as I'm recording this on Friday. Earl Thomas, there is now a arrest warrant issued for Earl Thomas. Don't know a lot on the situation, but as I'm recording this at 10:59, as the time shows right now, Earl Thomas, there's a warrant out for his arrest. Now, ESPN reported this. I'm going to read this straight from their website. An arrest warrant for Earl Thomas has been issued in Austin, Texas, after police say the former Seattle Seahawks and Baltimore Ravens safety violated a court protective order by sending threatening messages to a woman about her and her child, according to the Austin American-Statesman. Now, Earl Thomas, there were some rumors and murmuring that he might be in the best place in his career. He's healthy, he's ready to be back on the field. So, Earl Thomas, a warrant out for his arrest. This might just nick his chance of getting back into the NFL. If these allegations are true, I mean, there's a warrant out for his arrest, so it doesn't look like Earl Thomas will be seeing the field anytime soon, nor does it look like he will be seeing the NFL field for the remainder of his career. I think it might just be time for Earl Thomas to say goodbye to football, especially after the warrant is out for his arrest now. I think this really takes away any chance of him returning this year. But let's go back to where we were on Monday. The San Francisco 49ers signed cornerback Jason Verret to a 1-year extension. They re-signed their cornerback. They brought in Charvarius Ward in free agency. So I think the 49ers keeping their guy for another year, really stick the defense together. While adding a guy, I think it's really going to help the 49ers. I think that what they did last year was pretty good, what they got. But it's all going to depend on what Trey Lance can do. But this is a good signing for them, keeping their cornerback on the team for at least another year. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs, following the draft, signed wide receiver Justin Ross as an unrestricted free agent. Ross played for Clemson, and he's got speed on him. So the Chiefs are trying to, I guess, replace Tyreek Hill in a sense. They drafted Sky Moore, so they're trying to replace Tyreek Hill in any way they can. They didn't have the money to re-sign him or get a new deal done. So they get a draft pick for him, get a younger guy and a younger contract. 4 years, really low money. They don't have to pay him until another 4 years. And by that time, I'm sure the salary cap will go higher and higher like it has been going. But for now, they're trying to replace him with these younger guys. A couple small signings for the Chiefs. Now for the Seattle Seahawks, back to the 5th-year option news. They declined defensive end L.J. Collier's 5th-year option. Now, these 5th-year options, we're going to see them coming out throughout the entire offseason leading up to the season. Whether teams are picking up the option, declining the option. This is really going to be a bunch of news that teams really have to face going into the season. I think that fifth-year options are a big part of a team because it says a lot about where the team is on that specific player. It really says where the team's thinking about their future, if that player's going to be within their future, or if he's just a guy who they want for a year and then get rid of him. So in some instances where they decline the contract, it's more of, all right, we got one more year out of you and then we'll go our separate ways. You could try to find a new team. You're not really in our future plans. But Washington did make another offensive lineman signing. They lost Brandon Scherf in free agency, so they signed offensive lineman Trey Turner to a 1-year, $3 million deal. Now this came after he was released from the Steelers. Trey Turner really played well in Pittsburgh, protecting Big Ben for so many years. But now he's moving on. He's going to head to Washington, where he has to protect Carson Wentz and try to help Carson Wentz not get injured once again. Now, back to the Seahawks, more of a breaking news, some news that's been going around a ton lately, and that's DK Metcalf. Now, DK Metcalf said he expects to work out a new long-term deal to stay in Seattle, and I quote, "We're going to get something done. I think I'm going to be in Seattle for the next upcoming years." This is what Metcalf said on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast. Now, DK Metcalf, just like other wide receivers like Terry McLaurin, like A.J. Brown, and like Debo Samuel, these four guys have been the loophole of the NFL recently. I know with all the wide receivers getting paid, like Devonte Adams, and guys of his caliber, Tyreek Hill, those guys are getting paid, so these younger receivers want to get their money too. They want to get a new contract. They want to be locked up, the security, the money, all of it. They want to be tied to a team. They want the respect, the contract, not all for money way, but just knowing that they're going to be a part of that team's future. It's kind of like trust and accountability on the team's part that we want you here, you want to be here, let's get something done, and then comes the money part of the contract. So the money's kind of secondary in a sense to where at first the team needs to say, we want you here long term or we don't. And the player, same thing, I want to be here or I want to be traded. Now, in this case, Seattle kept backing up that they don't want to get rid of him, they want Metcalf there. And Metcalf's reiterating the fact that he wants to stay in Seattle. So I'm going to assume, I know they say never to assume, but I'm going to assume that Seattle and Metcalf get a deal done in the upcoming months leading up to the season. Once again, this isn't a situation that you want looming going into your season. This is a contract and a situation that you want to get rid of, get done before the season. So there's no drama within the season, because once the season starts, there's going to be drama of its own within the season. You want more drama looming about contracts, because then the TV shows, the networks, and podcasts like mine, like other ones on YouTube and any other platform, you're going to talk about it, and it's going to be a topic of point to which I'm talking about right now. So once it gets done, it really fades away, and it's not talked about much. So I'm going to assume that they want to get a deal done before the season, so this isn't something looming in the upcoming NFL season. Now on Tuesday, we're going to get farther into the week here. This is where a couple of the rookies signed their deals. Trayvon Walker signed his rookie deal, which turned out to be a 4-year, $37 million deal. That includes a $24 million signing bonus and a 5th-year option per Ian Rappaport. Now, I'm reading this off because I want to get all the information correct. I don't want to mispronounce something, misconstrue something. I want to make sure I get all the information correct, which is why I want to read this off to get the news out. So Ian Rappaport reported this contract for Trayvon Walker, and obviously it was on Instagram. You could check out my post, which every time I talk about something, I put my post here. You could check it out on the Instagram, which is Football Kingdom. It is in the link in the bio. But these are the designs, so if you do like the designs, you can go check out the Instagram. If not, it's alright. Just thank you for watching the video. But Trayvon Walker, the number 1 overall pick, gets his deal done. And this is really good for both sides. They get it done quick, easy, and fast. It's done now. You don't have to worry about negotiating. I know some rookies, when they're picked at the top, it takes a few weeks. Like last year when we saw the quarterbacks like Trevor Lawrence, it wasn't done right away. So it's good that the top picks, they get their deal done quickly. That way they're secure and they don't have to worry about it. They get to go to the rookie training camp, mini camp. They get on the field, get to meet their teammates, and they don't have to worry about the contract situation. They just got to get on the field and get to work right away. Now the Atlanta Falcons, not a rookie, but big signing for them. They re-signed their defensive tackle, Grady Jarrett, to a $51 million deal with a $34 million guaranteed. That also reported by Ian Rappaport. Big signing for Atlanta. They get their key guy at that defense. They get to keep him for multiple years now. So it's great signing for them. They don't have to worry about contract within the season. Now, which is good about this is it's done. It's done now. And we don't have to worry about it. Like some of the ones that are going to loom, you don't want any contract situations to loom. I keep saying this because it's important. You don't want these looming factors going into your season. You don't want the problems leading up into your season because it's just going to cause more problems, more controversy as to when the season starts, if that's the reason you're losing, what can go wrong, is there problems in the locker room between the player and the organization. So contracts like this, you want to get them done now, that we don't have to worry about them in the upcoming season. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers back to 50-year options. A surprising one in a sense is they declined linebacker Devin Bush's 50-year option. This reported by Adam Schefter. But what's interesting here is he was hurt, so I understand why they're declining it. But I think Devin Bush is still a good player. He's still practically really young. He wasn't drafted that long ago. I think Devin Bush is a good player. I think once Pittsburgh sees him on the field, they're going to be able to give him a contract later this year. I know they have to sign other guys like Mika Fitzpatrick. They signed TJ Watt. So I think Devin Bush is really a let's wait and see what he does this year if he could stay healthy. And then we'll readjust, refocus on the contract talks next season during the offseason before he becomes a free agent. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles released offensive lineman Nate Herbig. And then later on in the week, on Thursday, the New York Jets signed him. So, a really quick turnaround. Tuesday released, Thursday signed with a new team. So, good for Nate Herbig. Gets a new start with New York. He gets to protect Zach Wilson now. The Eagles didn't need him. They got their rookie last year in Lane Dickerson. So, with the offensive line that Philly has, Nate Herbig was really just that third, fourth string guy that really wasn't needed unless there were multiple injuries. But let's get on to the same news we've been talking about for weeks. What wouldn't be an episode where I don't talk about Debo Samuel? There hasn't been an episode in a while where Debo Samuel has not come up. Now this time it's not exactly on Debo, what news on him or what he said, but really what the 49ers general manager John Lynch said. Now he believes, I'm going to read quote for quote, "We're trying really hard with Debo to work through whatever the issues might be. I always really believed that there is a sacredness to those conversations remaining private, especially with things like this. I don't think the obstacles are insurmountable. I think we could find a way to a resolution, and we're hoping for that because we know what he's been to this organization. 36th pick in 2019, and he's been so good on and off the field. Obviously a tremendous player. He makes us better. I think we make him better, and we're hopeful that we get everything right and that we're rolling forward." Now he said this on Monday on KNBR's Tolbert and Cope's podcast. Now this is what he thinks on the fixing the relationship between the 49ers and Debo. This is another interesting situation because it's been going on for weeks now. It's going back and forth. There's been tweets by Debo, Instagram, unfollowing. He just refollowed the 49ers, I believe, yesterday, which was Thursday. I do believe he refollowed them on Instagram. So this is just a wild race to see if Debo is going to get re-signed. I think this will probably carry out for a few more weeks, maybe a few more months if so. But another one that needs to get done. I mean, one way or another, get a deal done or trade Debo. I think that if they were going to trade him, they would have gotten it done within the draft. They probably could have got, a couple of picks for him. I do think on draft night there were reports that the 49ers turned down an offer from the Jets that include the number 10 overall pick, if I'm correct on that, which would have been awesome. I think the 49ers could have gotten the receiver of their choosing besides Drake London, who was the first receiver off the board. They would have been able to get any of the other receivers that they really wanted. So I think that they really believe that they can get something done with Debo, because if they didn't think that they would be able to fix the relationship, they probably would have just traded him and then gotten a younger receiver that they could have replaced Debo with, like the Tennessee Titans did. They drafted Treylon Burks after trading A.J. Brown. So a team like that, I think the 49ers definitely think they can revisit the contract talks, rebuild the connection with Debo, the trust, the relationship, as John Lynn spoke upon. Now, another big controversial thing that happened on Tuesday was Ryan Tannehill talking about mentoring Malik Willis. His quote was, "I don't think it's my job to mentor him, but if he learns from me, that's good." Now, in reference to Malik Willis, this is a very controversial spot where I could see both sides. And I see the people saying he didn't mean malicious intent by it, which I do agree with. I don't think Ryan Tannehill went into that interview saying that, "All right, I'm not going to mentor him. I don't really care what he does. But if he learns from me, great." I don't think he wanted to say it like that. I don't think that's how he wanted it to come out. But I also don't think that he doesn't mean anything by it. I think that the people saying, "Oh, Ryan Tannehill should be canceled, Ryan Tannehill, I hope he loses his job," that's a whole nother side to it, because Ryan Tannehill is still a good player. He still deserves a chance to really be the starter. But yes, what he said was interesting in a way. I can't really go either way on it. I think based on how it was taken, I think it was wrong how it came out. I mean, I watched the video. I put the video on my Instagram, which I think you guys can see right here. I don't think he meant ill intent by it, but I'm going to play the video for you guys, see what you guys think of it. So here you guys go.
The same room, we're competing against each other. We're watching the same tape. We're doing the same drills. I don't think it's my job to mentor him, but if he learns from me along the way, then that's a great thing.
See, I don't think that he meant ill intent by it. I think it was more of a, here you go. As he said, I'm not here to mentor him, but if he learns from me, I don't think he meant ill on it. Like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna mentor him. Like, that's not my job. So I think in a sense his quote was taken out of context. But in a way, I think if you're a veteran guy, I think you have to at least attempt to help out the rookie. I mean, I get where Tannehill is coming from in a sense, because the Titans didn't let him know that they were drafting Malik Willis. I think that's a courtesy thing that you want to tell your veteran quarterback, your starting quarterback, if you're going to draft somebody. Like the 49ers, they told Garoppolo they were trading up to get Lance. And that wasn't a small thing. Like, that was 3 first-round picks to get Lance in the first round at number 3. This is a third-round guy, so I don't think Tennessee was really like, all right, he's our day one starter. Tannehill, just mentor him. But you could have at least told Tannehill, this is what we're thinking of doing. But Tannehill said the team didn't tell him, so that could be a point of view to where Tannehill was like, all right, well, this team obviously doesn't care about me, so why should I care about this rookie who the team just took? But in another sense, it's like, you got to help the rookie in some way, I guess, because he's there to learn from you. So help him out in a small way. I know Kurt Warner put out this tweet, so I think, Kurt Warner obviously saw the situation as everyone did. I mean, it's been everywhere for the past couple of days. Everyone's been talking about it. But I can go either way on it. I think how it came out and how it was perceived and construed was wrong by the media. I don't think he meant malicious intent by it. But how it came out when he talked, it's really a back and forth on how people interpret it. And it just comes down to interpretation when people talk about it, on how they interpreted his tone, his voice, and how he said it. But let's move on. Let's go to Thursday, where we had a couple of news here, more rookies signing. But let's start off with Magic Johnson is in the race, reportedly, to purchase the Denver Broncos. Now, Magic Johnson, obviously known for in the NBA, but coming into Denver to purchase the Denver Broncos, that could be an interesting take. I know that Denver is selling the franchise, so a lot of people are probably going to be in the race to buy it. A lot of different personalities in a sense, but I guess Magic Johnson's in the race reportedly, so that would be something to keep your eye on. If you like Magic Johnson, if you're a Bronco fan, maybe you have a take on if you want a certain person to take over ownership. So if you are a Bronco fan, comment down below who you want to be your new owner, if you do want a new owner of your team. But staying in the AFC West, the Los Angeles Chargers met and then later on in the day signed Kyle Van Noy. So they met with him, they had a quick meeting, and then later in the day it came out that they signed him. So the Chargers keep adding guys to that team. They brought in Khalil Mack, they brought in Bryce Callahan, they brought in J.C. Jackson, now they bring in Kyle Van Noy. An incredible offseason for the Los Angeles Chargers defense. Their depth chart from top to bottom is insane. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack on the first level. Second level, now you have Kyle Van Noy. Third level, that's where you have your Bryce Callahan, your cornerbacks in J.C. Jackson, and then at the safety position, Derwin James. So at each level of that defense, you have a seasoned veteran or a young stud. And when it comes down to it, the Chargers are going to be a very dangerous team in the AFC, as they were last year. Now they got tremendously and impressively better on the defense, which is really going to help when they go against those high-powered teams, especially within their division, like the Chiefs, who have always played hard against them, and like the Raiders, who now have Devonte Adams. But moving on to the rookies, we had 2 rookie signings. Let's start off with the Packers signing Devonte Wyatt, his rookie deal, a 4-year, $12 million, fully guaranteed, with a $6.53 million signing bonus. Now the Packers went 2 defense in the round 1, 2 Georgia guys. So really good for the Packers in the sense they didn't trade up for a guy, which was surprising. I thought once the receiver started to go off the board, they might trade up for one, but they didn't. So getting 2 defensive players to help out the defense really helps, and they traded up really close, really, in the second round, first couple of picks to get a wide receiver in Christian Watson. So overall, good draft for the Packers. At least they got a guy for Aaron Rodgers. And hey, Aaron Rodgers said it himself, they've had success with second-round wide receivers. Another key rookie that signed his deal was Jordan Davis with the Philadelphia Eagles. Jordan Davis signed his 4-year, $17 million deal, fully guaranteed, with a 9.55 signing bonus. So 2 key defensive guys taken in the first round were able to lock down their deals for their newly acquired team. And now, today as I'm recording this, Friday, a huge day with news. We started off with the Giants appearing to cut James Bradberry pretty soon. This reported by Twitter handle JustinM_NFL. He also reported that the Philadelphia Eagles will aggressively pursue James Bradberry if the Giants release him. So if the Giants are looking at this, they're seeing the reports, maybe they don't want to cut him because then he can go to a division rival. But overall, James Bradberry is still a good cornerback. He's older in age, I guess you could say, with all the younger guys coming out of college, the younger guys in free agency, getting in trades. But James Bradberry, still a good player, played remotely well for the New York Giants. So I think that he's a good player. If the Giants do look to cut him, I mean, Philadelphia signing him, adding him to that cornerback room with Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox could play out extremely well for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially with Bradberry knowing the Giants inside and out on that defense, and then playing that team twice a year because he's staying in that division. So that would be a pretty interesting change of events if he does stay there. Staying with the Eagles, more news. The Eagles are reportedly set to use the 2022 NFL season as a 1-year audition to see whether Jalen Hurts can firmly establish himself as their franchise quarterback. Jeremy Fowler reported this, and And Jalen Hurts, surprisingly going into his third year. I know his first year, he didn't play because Carson Wentz was there. Second year last year, he played well. He wasn't like a breakout guy among the guys in this class. But Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, in my opinion. I like Jalen Hurts. I'm a Jalen Hurts supporter. I think Jalen Hurts is the franchise guy in Philly. I think that Jalen Hurts in Philly, he's really going to play well. And yes, I mean, this is a do-or-die situation and a season for him. I mean, the Eagles gave him Devonte Smith last year in the draft. They brought in A.J. Brown this year. They traded a first-round pick for him. Now, that was probably because of Jalen Hurts, because Hurts was working out with A.J. Brown. He went to A.J. Brown's daughter's birthday party. A.J. Brown said multiple times that they're best friends. So bringing A.J. Brown into Philly to help out Hurts with the offense that they have built around him, the offensive line, the receiving core, young tight end, young players, really good for Jalen Hurts and his progression. So if Jalen Hurts can't do it this year for the team, they have 2 first-round picks next year, so one of those could be used on a quarterback. I don't see that happening. I think Jalen Hurts really comes out this year, balls out, surprises a lot of people. I won't be surprised because I believe in him, so I'm expecting him to have a good year. And like I said in the other video, I think that the Philadelphia Eagles will win the NFC East, and it will happen because of Jalen Hurts' play, and especially with his young offense that he has. Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. I think that offense is one of the best in the NFL, just on paper looking at it. Now, I don't think many teams have those 2 wide receivers who are young and great to go along with the tight end. I think one of the teams that you can look at in that sense are the Las Vegas Raiders now, with Waller at the tight end position, and then Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow at wide receiver. I think they're one of the only teams that have that 3-headed monster at tight end, wide receiver, to where other teams have 2 wide receivers but mediocre tight end, or great tight end but mediocre wide receiver. Another team could be the 49ers. You have Kittle, Debo, and then I guess you could put Ayuk there. But Ayuk's had an up and down year. He wasn't there. There were problems within him and the staff. He didn't play, and then they didn't want him there. So a lot going on in San Francisco. But not a lot of teams have those wide receiver 1A, wide receiver 1B, tight end 1. And that's kind of what the Eagles have going for them, just like the Raiders have going for them down there in Las Vegas. Now, moving on to the Raiders, as we were just talking about, huge news for them. Now, this is a lot to unpack. The Las Vegas Raiders president, Dan Ventrell, is no longer with the organization. This announced Friday. Raiders owner Mark Davis didn't reveal a reason for his exit. They just released a statement. He said, "We will have no further comment at this time." Now, they said that earlier today in the morning, but later on tonight, there was reports that Dan Ventrell said that he was fired by Mark Davis in retaliation to concerns he brought up a hostile work environment within the organization that were ignored. He brought them to the NFL. He has retained legal counsel regarding his firing. So, big news for the Raiders here. I think the Raiders are dealing with a lot right now. I just said that they have a very good offense, but ownership, management, don't know what it holds right now. I don't know what side is telling the truth, what side is just fabricating something, if both sides are telling the truth. But this will probably last a couple of days to figure itself out. I know this will probably be on the airwaves early next week because it did happen on Friday, so a lot of the weekday shows aren't going to be able to cover it till Monday. But I think it'll definitely be on networks, on shows on Monday, because people are going to talk about it. Sorry, it's really late here, but got to get this out. So, now we're going to move on to Chicago. Chicago Bears general manager Ryan Poles on ESPN 1000 was talking about Justin Fields, and here I quote, "We're all in on Justin. I believe in Justin. Our coaches believe in Justin. Like I said from the beginning, we are going to set him up to succeed." Now, the Chicago Bears, they aren't doing a lot for Justin Fields. They let Allen Robinson go. They do have Darnell Mooney there, though. I like Mooney. I think Mooney's underrated in a sense. I just want to see him on the field with Fields. But them saying that they've set him up to succeed, I don't see that yet. But we'll see what the upcoming year does for him. I think Justin Fields could be out for a breakout year. I really like the potential he holds in Chicago. So I'm really excited to watch him play this year. Now, we're going to move on to another rookies. The Kansas City Chiefs signed both of their first-round rookies. First-round pick Chet Mcduffie signed his 4-year deal worth $13.9 million with a 7.3 signing bonus, along with George Karlaftis signing his deal worth $11.9 million with a $5.8 million signing bonus. So the Chiefs take care of both their first-round picks, and they get that done for their team. Now, the New York Jets, last bit of news we have here. After they claimed Nate Herbig earlier in the week, they released offensive lineman Greg Van Ryn. So the Jets making some moves there with the O-line. But that'll be it for our week in review video. That's all the news that we've covered throughout the entire week. All the news throughout the week has been covered in this video. So if you weren't able to get bits of news throughout the week, this is your video. So if you guys are busy during the week, you aren't able to keep up, come here each week, every Saturday afternoon. This video will be up every Saturday afternoon for you guys to watch, for you guys to get your entire week in review. That way all the news that you might have missed, the news that you want to hear about a little more from my perspective, what I'm looking at, what I'm reading about, and my opinion on some things, you can come watch this video. It will be out, like I said, every Saturday afternoon. It's called a weekend review video for that reason. I'll be going through everything from Sunday, the day after this comes out, all the way to Friday night where I recorded this, and then the video will be up on Saturday. But other than that, just a little take on what's to come. On Tuesday, I will be recording my NFL draft grades video. I have recapped every single team, all of their draft picks, and then given each team a grade for their entire draft. Now, initially after the draft, I posted my grade for that pick. Now, I'm going to be posting my draft grades throughout the week. I'm going to do division by division. So on Wednesday, the video will be out, and you guys will be able to see my NFL draft grades and why I really graded each team, why I did. So throughout the entire week, I will be posting the designs up on the Instagram. You guys can check that out if you want. And then Wednesday afternoon, I'll be posting the video as to a description and an explanation as to why I graded each team how I did. So if you guys are interested in that, you can check that out on Wednesday. But as always, I'm your host, Jason. You can check out the Instagram for the designs. You can come back here every Wednesday and Saturday for new videos. And you can check out daily videos on the TikTok if you're interested in that. But until next time, I'll see you guys there.